we need to identify climate change as an outcome of the enhanced greenhouse effect. First, we need the experimental evidence. We know by this research into ice cores, by looking at ice of up to 420,000 years ago, we can find two pieces of information. The information we find is what the temperature was by looking at the kind of crystals that are formed, and also looking at the amount of carbon dioxide that is dissolved at that level. So at any point in time we can find out what the temperature was, what the carbon dioxide level was. And it's this that we need to look at. So this is looking at the Antarctic ice core data over 400,000 years. The red line is the amount of carbon dioxide. The blue line is the amount of temperature variation. And you notice that they go together. When the temperature is high, the carbon dioxide level is high. When the temperature is low, the carbon dioxide level is low. This is what this graph tells us. It doesn't give us any reason, doesn't tell us which is causing which. But there is a correlation between the carbon dioxide level and the temperature. So which is causing which? You've got carbon dioxide and the temperature. We know there's a direct relationship. There's a direct correlation between the level of carbon dioxide and the temperature over the last 400,000 years on the Earth using this data. But which is causing which? We know that when the temperature rises, for example, the seawater rises, less carbon dioxide is absorbed. We also know that when the temperature rises, the Earth is able to reflect less sunlight because the albedo increases, and therefore we absorb more radiation, we get more greenhouse effect, and the temperature will rise. So we know this is a possible mechanism. But which drives which? How do we know that the temperature is not driving the carbon dioxide rather than the carbon dioxide driving the temperature? This is the situation. It is accepted that human activity has caused an increase in the amount of carbon dioxide over the last 50 years, and as a consequence of this, the average temperature has increased. What possible solutions do we have to reduce the enhanced greenhouse effect? When we produce power, we could try to make our power stations more efficient. We could replace the use of coal and oil with natural gas, which is more efficient, and also less nitrous oxide is produced. And we can use what's called combined heating and power systems. Remember that when we have a power station, we must eject some heat to the surroundings in order to get the power station to work. Some of this heat must be ejected. We could find ways of using that heat. Another way is by the increased use of renewable energy sources and also nuclear power, because nuclear power does not produce carbon dioxide. Also, carbon dioxide capture and storage. Either we can do that or we can grow plants which photosynthesize and will capture carbon dioxide. And the use of hybrid vehicles. We know that much carbon dioxide is due to the combustion in cars. This is a combined heating and power system. Here we have the boiler. The steam goes through here, drives the turbine, and we get electricity from this. However, what could happen to this steam after it leaves here, rather than going to coolant and throwing the heat away, this heat could be taken somewhere else. It could be taken to heat homes, for example, where we need heat, but so some of this wasted heat could be used for other purposes. And this is what's called a hybrid vehicle. It has two power sources. It can be using petrol to drive it, and it could also use electricity. So you could charge the battery with electricity. I think the problem with this car, however, is this plug is far too big. You wouldn't have any space to put the luggage if you had a plug this big. you need to be aware of international efforts to reduce the enhanced greenhouse effect. Some of these could be, for example, the IPCC, who got the Nobel Prize a few years ago. The Kyoto Protocol, this is an agreement between different nations about reducing the amount of carbon dioxide. However, certain countries have refused to be part of the agreement. There's the Asia-Pacific Partnership on Clean Development and Climate. This is another initiative. COP15, how successful was that? We know life in Copenhagen was really disturbed around 4 years ago when we had this. How successful was it? Not very successful. That's the general opinion. I know it caused a lot of trouble with the trains, and it was snowing, and it was a bit of a nightmare to get to work, but there you go. So this is basically it. Time to revise.